Hello, good afternoon. I'm delighted that you are so many of you to join me for this webinar. So welcome. So as you can see on my screen, our topic today is how to manage multi-profile field and multi-profile team that are working on industrial project. Okay, so what does that mean? That means we will speak together about how we can organize your project management to be able to be more efficient and when you have to manage these several kind of team, for example, hardware team, software team, and to be sure that each team are synchronized with the roadmap that you prepare for your project. Okay, so that's why this webinar that I will speak with you, it speaks a lot about industrial product. Okay, so for those of you that doesn't know me yet, I will introduce myself. So just before we start, just to be sure that everyone can see my screen and hear me, you just write on the chat that everything is okay. Great. That's perfect. So we can start. So don't hesitate if sometimes, because my English it's not perfect at all. So that's why if sometimes you didn't get so that I said or something like this, don't hesitate to write in the chat and to write the question. Okay, so let's start. So first of all, who I am? I'm Sebastian. Okay, I'm working for the Tuleap team. So I'm business manager on the Tuleap team. My work is to understand and to work with you to understand your needs, okay, the several problems that you have and that you want to fix, and how Tuleap will be able to fix them, okay? And when we decide that everything is okay, I will work with you to use your Tuleap. Okay, so I worked for a long time in the past with several kind of projects, industrial, IT. So that's why I know and I use a lot of tool and several methodology. So that's why I know how we can work on this, and I saw how it was difficult for the project manager to be able to have all the several data from their team. Okay, so what is the agenda of this webinar? First of all, I will tell you a short story. So for people that are used to follow my webinar, you know that I like to speak about story and about my customer. So I will explain you how we start with one of our customer from a software team and how this software team was integrate and was inside the R&D team. And the software team already used Tuleap and how we installed Tuleap for all the R&D team. I will show you this. In second time, we will speak about the management problem that you will meet with your product management organization when you have several teams. I think the several problems that I will show you, you already met them. And with Tuleap, we want to fix each of them. And we'll finish with a demo. So during this demo, I will show you how with Tuleap we can start and create industrial project. And inside this project, we will start with system requirement. This system requirement will have several requirements per team. Okay, so mechanical requirement, hardware requirements, and each requirement has their own task. I will show you how you can plan a project with a main roadmap and product roadmap, and how you can give autonomy for each of your team. So let's start about the little story of my customer. So my customer was, and it's still my customer, and we work with him. This is a customer in the medical software, and this customer creates some software application for medical device. So these several applications were made with Tuleap. Okay, they use Tuleap as their application lifecycle management, and that worked very well. There is another team. The other team was the R&D team. The R&D team was realize the medical device. Okay, so this is the hardware. We had the mechanical team, hardware, enable software, and automation. Okay, all these several activities were in the product R&D team. The two teams were split. Why? Because the software team has their own roadmap, and the product R&D team had their own roadmap too. And when the software team creates the several applications, the application will connect to the device, but the second version of the application was not launched in the same time with the new device. But as you know, and I think a lot of you meet this, with the evolution and the market change, and now all the applications are inside the product. Okay, so that's why all the software team had to create the several applications directly inside the product, and when there is a new product that were launched, there is new application inside it, because now all the application and the product is a part, the application, it's a part of the product. So that's why our customer decide to put Tuleap and to use Tuleap for all the product R&D team. And with this, they will be able to manage all the organization with Tuleap, not only the software team, but all the other team. So what we met when we start with them to put Tuleap on this R&D team, we had the product manager. The product manager, before, he created his management. He had some system specification, system requirement, and these requirements were sent to his several team. And after, each team have to create their own requirement and manage them with their own tool. Okay, so this is what did the product manager. He sent his requirements and said, okay, each team, you have to do this. Each team has their own tool, their own process, okay, and they will work on them and send the result of their activities and of their own development. So with it, the product manager take all this several information, use a standard tool as Excel project to merge all this data, and with this, you have to check if everything is okay, if all teams are synchronized, and if the product roadmap will be the right one. So what we can see here. First problem, we have several tools. This is a real problem. Why? Because when you have several tools, one tool per team, that means the data are not the same. There is one time that you have to merge all this data, and you will lost a lot of time. In another way, each team are autonomous. They have their own data, they have their own product, and they have their own milestone. Okay, so sometimes you could have several milestones, and more milestone you have, more difficult it is to synchronize all your team. And the last one, this is a not real-time data exchange. This is a big problem for your traceability. I think all of you still have and you already have some problem with the traceability when you have, for example, a quality check to do. And when you are not in real-time data exchange, you have to take this several information, looking for them, and after to be sure that the first idea that you have was realized by this, and this is linked to it, could be very difficult. So that's why you will have, due to this the several problem, complicated management, breaking traceabilities, the management and the decision will be a lot of time top-down management. And it's very difficult to have a bottom-up a process with this kind of organization. And your team could be non-synchronized and not aligned. And with this, you could miss some checkpoint, and sometimes the team could be demotivated. So what happened when you put one tool? And what happened with this product manager in this R&D team when we put Tuleap for all of them? First of all, that we would like to do is to keep the autonomy of each team. That's very important, because if your team has their own process, it's because they need it, okay? Because this process is compliant and the more efficient for them. But that doesn't mean they have to use another tool. They can keep the same tool, and with Tuleap you are able to customize it to be more efficient for your workflow. So first of all, we put Tuleap and we customize Tuleap for each team. The first result of it is all the data are synchronized in real time in the same place. Okay, so when we speak about a user story, we speak about a requirement, we know that this requirement, this is the same for all of you. So you have a traceability from the first ID to the last testing. So with this data in real time, you have a unique tool. Okay, so it's very easy to synchronize all your several data, and you can keep the autonomous for each team. With a unique tool, you will be able to create your roadmap, to share this roadmap with all the team, okay, because they are using the same tool, and after all the team can synchronize on this roadmap. So that's why your team will be aligned with the product roadmap, and to be sure that everyone know exactly where they have to do for this product and for this roadmap. Is it are you still with me, everyone here? It's okay? Perfect. So I explain with this example. This is one of the several examples that we have with Tuleap, but this one it's interesting because we can see how with an organization that we are used to do, how we can really improve this organization if you change your tool and if you put a change management with this. So how it works. So I will start now to speak about the demonstration that I will do after. We will do an example. We had the product manager, software team, and hardware team. Okay, so each color that you can see represents the kind of team, and the team has in one workspace some action to do to manage this product. So the product manager starts, and he starts with the system requirement. Okay, so you have a product. This is the product roadmap here. He planned it. You have to produce this product. Okay, and you have new system requirements that have to be planned for this product. The system requirement, he will work on it. So this is the first step of the V cycle of this product. Okay, this is the specification definition. So during the specification definition, he will know that, okay, the system requirement to be done I need 2 software requirements and 2 hardware requirements. Okay? So each team now, they know exactly what they have to do. Okay, we are ready now to plan this system requirement to the product backlog, and so to the product roadmap. This system requirement is here. That means for this product roadmap, we have to do this system requirement. Okay, so let's speak about the team now. The software requirement knows that he has the two requirement to do. He knows that these requirements are linked to the system. They will plan this requirement for their own planning. So you can see here we have the product roadmap. For the software team, it's organized with 2 sprints. Okay, and for the hardware team, he planned this realization during this period inside the product roadmap. Okay, so we see that each team has their own planning. They organize as they want, but they have to be synchronized on the product roadmap. Okay, so in the same way, there is a hardware requirement that are a part of the backlog, and they can now plan it to the hardware planning. Okay, so that's ready now, and each team can work on it. They plan them, and you can see that the contract it was respect, because the hardware team planned to finish at this time his requirement, and so it's compliant with the system requirements that have to be done for the product roadmap. Okay, so they work on it. They have their own workflow for each requirement. There is the review for the software requirement. You can see here they check that their requirement is okay. In the same way, hardware requirement testing their requirement, and they check that the team check it to be sure that everything is okay. And they said, okay, my requirement is done, software requirement is done too, my system requirement can be testing too now. Okay, so now we will test it. So this is the product team will test by the end-to-end and do all the several tests for this system, and everything is okay. We can say, okay, the system requirement is done. So as you can see with this workflow, we synchronize all the team. Okay, so all the team are aligned, all the team are autonomous. They realize the several tasks that they have to do. The product manager can see exactly what it's doing in each team and do the several action. It's if something is late or not. Okay, so let's start with the demo. We will start with the same organization. So I will show you a template, a project template that you can use for your Tuleap. And this template is everyone on the team are working in the same workspace. You can do exactly the same in several workspaces, but for the demo, I prefer to work on one workspace to show you how you can manage several teams in one. With Tuleap, you can create how many workspaces you want, so there is no problem about this. So we will start with this workspace, and I will create a product roadmap. Okay, so for this product roadmap, I will create a new system requirement. This system requirement will be defined. Okay, so I will define a mechanical requirement, hardware and software, because in this example, we will have 3 teams. And after this, I will plan the system requirement in the product roadmap. So to do this, I will use several features of Tuleap. The most of the one that I will show you is that we call it the Agile dashboard. This is the one that you will use to plan your project. Okay, so after I will change and I will show you what is the view from one of the team member. And we will take the hardware team. Okay, the hardware team will create his team schedule, plan the team requirements, okay, and after realize the several requirements with their own task. The team will do the test, we will validate the system requirement, and after this, we will be able to deliver this product to our customer. Okay, so let's now show you how it works. During the demo, don't hesitate if you want to see some specific features. Don't hesitate to ask me. Okay, because during this demo I will show you an example. I can show you everything that Tuleap can do, so that's why don't hesitate to write on the chat demo and what you want to see. I will contact you after to do a specific demo for you. Okay, so let's speak about the example that I explained to you. So we will start with the product manager. So in green, this is the product manager. Okay. In blue, this is the software team, and in purple, this is the hardware team. So when you connect on Tuleap, for people that do not know Tuleap yet, you can see that each user has their own web page. Okay, this is a personal page that you can customize and organize as you want. You can create how many dashboards you want, and for each dashboard, you can see here there is several widgets that you can add and take all the data from the several projects where you are working on. Okay, so when you create a new project, you start here, new project. And here you have several templates. Okay, the one that I will show you, this is a template that I use from a project that we already create. And the name is Industrial Product Management. Okay, so we will go on it. And you can see this is a project, so the workspace that I create. On this workspace, I have some user. So this is all my users that are working on this workspace. And all these users are organized with team. There is a mechanical team, hardware team, and a software team. Okay. So with this, you will see that each team, you can organize the permission of them. Okay, so they can manage their own data, their own tracker. So when I speak about tracker, this is an object that you will create inside Tuleap for your project. Okay, so now I am the product manager and I want to create a new product roadmap. So I will add here a new product roadmap. And we'll say, okay, I want to put a new GPS. Okay. So this is a new GPS system driving for you know, the car. Okay, this is a new product. This product you can pick the date on a calendar here. So imagine that it starts on the 1st April and I have to be done at the end of June. Okay, all the fields that I show you here, you can customize them, modify as you want. And the statue, I have to analyze it. So we can see here the several statue of this of my product. So this is a V-cycle. Okay, so my product roadmap, now it's great. And when it's great, so it will appear here. You can see the card is great of my Kanban here. And here I have a Gantt that it's just great. And I can add another one if I need to say, okay, I will have another drive controller, and we imagine this one will start after the this one in the beginning of June. Okay, so I've planned my several roadmap for the several products that I have to do. Okay, for this, so now my product roadmap is here. I have the roadmap that are planned, and this new these two products to do. Okay, this one I take it and I said now he changed his step and this is in requirement specification. Okay, we will work on it now. So I go here on this tool. This is one of the features of your Tuleap. So when you have Tuleap Enterprise, don't worry, you will have all these features. Okay, there is no features to add after. Everything is here. So I open this tool, and this tool will here. It's here to help me to organize all my several projects and all several milestones. So here I have the backlog. What I have to do. So I have the several system requirements. We can see here I already have one, security of the speed. Okay, why not? And I will add another one. So this one, it's add a new GPS control. Okay, so this is a system that I have to add to my new product. That this is a new GPS controller driving. Okay, so with this control, can okay. So we explain what is the system. So it need uh, some features for the hardware team. Need a new card, and for the software team, we need new user interface. Okay, so now this is driving tool, and we can add several information, start date, end date if we want. That's up to you. Okay, so now the system requirement appear here. We can see it. It's here. There is no child inside, and we can continue to work on it. Okay, hardware requirement. This hardware requirement will be seen only by the hardware team. Okay, so new card. Okay, so you can see here it's automatically linked to the system requirement because I create a hierarchy between the several objects. I assign it to my hardware team. Okay, and here you can add all the several information that you want. And I will put a cost, and we imagine that it costs 30 man-day. Okay, so now my system requirement is add with a new hardware requirement, and we'll do exactly the same with the software requirement. Okay, so the software requirement. So new interface dashboard. Okay, and in the same way, I find him my team for the software team. Okay, so now my two requirements are done. Here I have the cost of my system requirement. Okay, and with this, I'm able to plan it. So I will change the statute to say, okay, it's ready. And now this system requirement, I said, okay, I will plan it for one of my tools. So this is for this one. I take it and I plan it here. Okay, we imagine this one. I plan it for this new system, for this new GPS system driving. And that's okay for me. I can say, okay, my team, you can work on it. So now the work for the product manager is done. You have here his dashboard. So the dashboard, with the dashboard, he can have in one view the status of each requirement from their team. Okay, and know exactly what is the status on it, if a requirement start or not, and if there is some problem about this. Okay, let's change now, and I take my hardware team leader. In the same way, she has her own personal page, and she go on the same project here. And with this, we can see the several product roadmap. We have the same welcome page. And when she go here to the product top backlog, we will see that she sees that there is, for the new GPS system driving, 2 system requirements. Okay, so let's go inside the planning, and when we go on the planning, she sees only the hardware requirements that are planned for this product. Okay, so she will create their own planning, the hardware planning. Okay, we'll do this, and can create in the same date to say, okay, everything will be done for the end of May. Okay, so the planning now is great. It's great inside this roadmap. Okay, so you can create how many planning you want. It's just that to be sure that this is the right timeline. Okay, and now she said, okay, I take it and I'll plan it here. My hardware requirements are ready. This one need a new drive card for the security of speed, and this one need a new GPS card for the new GPS control. In the same way, this team has their own task board, and on this task board, she will be able to manage all the activity of her team. We can see here, hardware requirement need a new drive card, all the tasks are done. So we have to test it. Now, she have to work on this one. We will add some task. So the task, this is for her team. Okay, so there is a card. Okay, so there is a task that have to be done. So you can see now the task. It's here on this Kanban, and now we have the line here, and all the tasks are organized by requirements. Okay, and you can assign it to one of your team member. Okay, perfect. And you said, okay, he have to work on it, and now this task it's ongoing. Okay, so we imagine that the task it's done. Perfect. So what does that mean? That means now all the tasks are done. The hardware requirements have to be tested. Okay, so you can say to the team planning, to the task board from for the system, you said, okay, my hardware requirement for these 2 system requirements are on review. And you can say on my team planning, now I will test them. Okay, so I go to the test management tool. So the test management tool, this is one of the most important tools in Tuleap. And with this, you will be able to manage all the validation of what you did. Okay, so here we can see we have the hardware requirement. So for the new drive card, we have to validate that the card is working, and I will create a new one for the GPS card. Okay, so check that's the okay. So this is one of the tests. You can add some several steps. Okay. Okay, and that's okay for me. This is a hardware test. We can say, okay, this test is needed for certification. You know, you can add any field that you need for your validation. And now that's okay for me. I have 2 requirements, and these requirements are covered by this test. Okay, we can add another one if we want. Another test in the same way, hardware, and submit. Okay, so what we have now, we have two requirement hardware, okay, and that I want to do, it's to say to the team and to the product management, okay, product manager, I will test my requirements and I will tell you everything is okay. So you will create a new campaign, and when you create this campaign, hardware validation, the campaign will take and scan all the requirements that you have on this planning. Okay, so everything that you did, he load the several test definition and create 3 test execution. Okay, so there is 3 tests to do with your team to be sure that everything is okay. So we can say, okay, I validate that the card is working. I open the card, that's work. Okay, I launch, that's work too. That's okay for me, this one. I want to check it. That's okay. And we see, okay, it failed. There is something wrong here. And the other test, it's okay. So what we have now, we see that from hardware validation, when you go back to your hardware planning, there is one requirement that it's okay. This one is not okay. Okay, so now your organization, you will say to the product management, this one, new drive card, it's done. For him, it's okay. And so now that means when the other requirement will be done, we will be able to test this one. And this one, it's not okay. It's still on review, ongoing. We have to rework on it. Okay, so when you go on the test, that I will do now is to organize about this test execution. I will create here an issue. Okay, but before I just want to check. Here you have all the traceability tool. This tool, you will use it to be sure that everything is linked and to see who this test, where this test execution come from. Okay, so we can see this is executing this hardware validation. Okay, that was for this test definition. This test definition is linked to this hardware requirement. And in the same way, this hardware requirement, you will see the several tasks that there is inside. Okay, there is this task that was in this planning, and it's linked to this system requirement. So with this, you have all the several information that you need to create the most efficient issue for your team. Okay, so the cart doesn't signal. Okay, so there is a big problem about this, and we have to fix it. Okay, so you assign it to one of your team member. In the same way, he will manage this this bug, so this issue, and when this issue it's checked, you can say, okay, now I can manage this issue. You go back to your backlog and you can see here the issue. Okay, so you said I take it and I will correct it. So this is if your workflow you want to manage the issue result, the issue fixing, you can manage it as each kind of task. Okay, and inside you said I plan it of my hardware team. So you can imagine that this issue, it's a new planning. Okay, and on this planning, you said, okay, I put all my several issues. Okay, for this, so now you have your task board, you manage this issue, you said, okay, it's done, and you can do another test. Okay, so I go to my test here. I create a new campaign because this one doesn't work. You can export the result of this one if you want to have Excel files about this. And you will do the second validation. The same way, he create here the tree test, everything it's erased, and now you can validate that everything it's done. Okay, that's work, and this time it's working. Okay, so if you want to go here, you can see that the hardware requirements have this test definition and this test definition. If you go on this definition, you will see that there is 2 execution of it. And with these 2 execution here, you have 1 fail and 1 passed. And you see exactly who did what. Okay, so that's why the traceability is very important of this. And so that's perfect now. We can go back to the top backlog and say, okay, for the hardware team, all the requirements are ready. So we can say, okay, the issue it's fixed, and now the hardware requirement is done. So as you can see here, there is a problem. Why? Because I define of my workflow that I'm not allowed to put my hardware requirement directly from the ongoing to done. Okay, so that's why Tuleap told me, no, you are not allowed to do this. I have to do the review before and after to say, okay, it's done. Okay. Yes, you can add some document to the test result for sure. Yeah, you can add them as you want for each step, for example, and you can do each kind of document you want. And when we do it, sometimes we do some snapshot, on the screen. Okay, and so that's finished for my hardware team. Yes, that's a good question about to skip test test in the second campaign. So if what you want to say it's to so I go back to my team planning, and here for the second campaign you can say, okay, I want to do some tests, but here you can edit them. If there is some test that you don't want to do again, you can go here to select test. Okay, and here you will be able to select the test that you want to add or remove. Okay, so if you want to add other tests, you can do them too. That's very useful when you need, for example, to do a non-regression campaign. That's useful to take your system requirements to see all the several requirements that are done for this system and to do all the several tests of them. Okay, now that we will do, it's to continue to work. And so my hardware team, it's done. Okay, so now the product manager see that everything was done for the hardware team, but he sees that the software team doesn't do anything yet. So when you connect with your software team, so I won't do exactly the same, but he will do the same. Okay, but you can see that when you go on the industrial product management demo, he has the same data, but when you connect on the top backlog, on the new GPS system driving, on the taskboard, he see only his own requirement. He don't see the other requirement if he are not involved of them. Okay, so he only see what he have to do. And in the same way, he will be able to create their own planning, to do their own test, sprint, etc. Okay, so we imagine that we can do it. So I didn't create any workflow for this one, and that's okay. Now the several requirements, and we imagine that the software requirements are done, the tests are done too. So I can go back to my product manager, and now he can say, okay, the 2 system requirements that I have, There is one with the mechanical, but we imagine that it's done too. These two system requirements are ready, and that means I can do the test now. Okay, so the new GPS system driving, I have to change its status. So there was the design, the implementation, we already do it. Now it's testing and integration. Okay, so you can see here, it's here, the new GPS. So as you can see, you have several ways to modify the information of your data and of your tracker. And so now that I want to do, it's to test it. So you go here on your product roadmap, and when you are here, you go on his milestone. So this is another way to go directly to the test management tool. You see the several requirements that are inside, the issue that was created by the hardware team, and you go on your test planning. Okay, so the issue is still displayed here because this is how we define this workflow, but you are not. It's not necessary to see the several issue. And here you can see the several tests, and these tests are here to validate your system requirements. Okay, so if the display, okay, so these tests have to validate the several requirements that were did by the team. Okay, so now I will create my new campaign. So the campaign is for all the product. Okay, so that's why you will see that we load all the several tests that were defined. So the system requirement test and the other test too. Okay, we see the hardware test and the software test. This is if we want to do another check. But for this one, we will skip them. And we said, okay, the hardware test, I don't take it. And mechanical, I don't have. And so that's perfect for me. Okay, I keep the system requirement. Okay, I keep the software. That's not a problem. And now I can test everything in the same way. If there is any problem about the test that I did, I can create the issue and investigate on it. For this one, for example, we can say, okay, I want to see what was done of this one. I have this test definition, so it's linked to my system requirement. Okay. So now I display it. I have all the several requirements that were inside, and I see in which kind of product release it was done. Okay, so with this you have all the information. If you have any problem, and you know who you can send the issue if you identify one. Okay, so we imagine that the product validation is done. Everything works perfect. So now you can say, okay, I see my two system requirements are checked. I can export it if I want. And with this, I can say, okay, my new system driving, it's ready and to be delivered. And now it changes status, operation, and maintenance. This product is done. We can start the other one now in exactly the same workflow. So as you can see, during all this demo, I manage one product with several teams. Several teams well organized but know exactly what was done for this product and for this roadmap. and we are able from our several role to be able to manage all the several activities. Okay, and if we want, the product manager can go very deep to his to his system. He can see here the several requirements, and if he wants, he can see exactly the several planning for each of his team, and go to see the several tasks that are done inside. Okay, and now on the requirement definition, we can say, okay, the new GPS control is validate, and now it's go to be done. Okay, for this, so do you have any question about what I just show you? So there is several ways to synchronize the team. With this example, the team is synchronized because they create their own planning inside one parent planning. You know, what does that mean? That means here you can see this is several trackers that I use for this workspace. When you go here to the administration of the tracker, you will see that the tracker are organized with a hierarchy. Okay, so the hierarchy here you see the system requirement, hardware. So system are parent of hardware, software, mechanical, and each requirement are parent from task. And here you have the product roadmap that is parent of the team planning. So that's why the team planning have to do their planning during this roadmap. After, you can define that the planning from the software team have to wait the end of the planning of your hardware team. So what you can do here, you can create some link between the two planning. About the community, you will be able to use several of the tools that I show you. For example, all the product top backlog. I think it's in the community, but you won't have all the test management because the test management it's only on the enterprise. And that you will have only on the enterprise. This is the baseline too, because I didn't show you the baseline. But the baseline, this is a snapshot that you will do for your project. And for example, your customer said, okay, that's great. You create a new GPS. But now I want to see exactly what there is, what was the system management inside. Okay, no problem. You do this baseline of this product, and inside you can consult it, and you will see that there is the issue, okay, that were created, the system requirement, and if you want to add a tracker, for example, the issue, up, we add it, and you will have all the system requirements and its organization. Okay, so with this, we can see the one that we did, needed new, and what was done exactly, the test definition, and each software requirement. Okay, so after about the community, there is other feature we can speak about this to see exactly the other features that you don't have. So you don't have this too, and all the document management too. Document management, it's the one that you, because this one it's drag and drop, you can take some document and put them directly inside. With the community, this is the older one that it's not as easy to use. So why? It's just because the community edition, this is a development version. So that's why there is some tools that we can't deliver it during the development. Okay, and so all the test management tool and the link. So the artifact link that I show you, the diagram artifact link, you won't have it too. So is there other question? So this is some customers that are using Tuleap for the moment. So don't hesitate if you want more information about it. And you can see on our website, on tuleap.org, some use case about our customer if you want to see them. So with this, you will find all my email, the website here. Don't hesitate to send me an email if you want more question, okay, if you want more information, and I will write it. Okay, and don't hesitate to contact me if you want to speak about your project and to see how we can work together about it. Thank you very much for all of you for your attention during this webinar. I hope that I will give you some information how you can organize. I hope that will be with Tuleap, but instead of how you can organize your product management. And so I'm waiting for you and for your contact. Thank you very much and have a very good evening. This webinar will record, so I will send you the link if you want to see it again. Thank you. Have a good evening for European people and a good day for US people. Thank you. Goodbye.